privilege and a pleasure to come before you once again for your 15 minutes of daily inspiration. You know how we do it at New Birth. We're excited about pouring into you beyond Sunday morning. We're not just about church, we're about service. And as your pastor of Internet and Innovation, Kurt Vance Ross, I thank you for sharing, for tagging, and for tuning in so consistently. Each one of you have shared with me through inbox messages and through various forms of communication how these messages have impacted you, and we're grateful. Take a moment right now, tag at least 5 people, share this message, and start your watch party. As you know, when I come into your spaces now, just beyond giving you a spiritual perspective, it is my job to now help you with your purpose, your business, and your life plan. You're stuck at home, you're quarantined, not because you are on punishment. You are now on a platform to produce your purpose and turn it into profit. Again, you're not quarantined simply because you're on punishment, but you're on a platform to produce your purpose to turn around and give you a profit. And in this moment, today is all about you. You're in a position where you're talking about, I want to capitalize on everything that's in my hand, every moment that I have. And we're calling this the Entrepreneur's Checklist. Again, it's the Entrepreneur's Checklist. You've heard me tell you before that the Bible is not just a spiritual document, it's a business plan. Remember, I told you in giving you a recap that God himself is a business owner. Remember that in the book of Luke, when Jesus gets lost from his earthly mother and father, he's talking to scholars in a segment of an institution. He says in no uncertain terms, when his mother asked him, why didn't you come looking for us? Listen to what he says. I must be about my father's business, which means that God is so good as an entrepreneur that even his children want to follow in the family business. And before you go any further, before you make any mistake, I want you to run down this checklist to verify if you are qualified to be an entrepreneur. Let me preface by letting you know everybody is not supposed to own a business. I don't care how good your cookies are. I don't care how amazing your waist trainer is. I don't care how big you think your process will impact the lives of other people. Some people are designed to work for others. But there are a few of us who have been put in a position where we are called to lead, empower, and create a platform for people. So, on this entrepreneur's checklist, ask yourself a few questions to verify if you've been designed to be an entrepreneur. Question number 1, are you okay with taking risk? Number 1, are you okay with taking risk? What most people don't realize is the word entrepreneur and undertaker are synonyms. Again, the word entrepreneur and undertaker are synonyms. What do you mean? The person and the term you use for the individual who buries people is the same terminology synonymously with the word for people who build businesses. What does that mean? An undertaker and an entrepreneur are people who are comfortable taking calculated risk. Again, an undertaker and an entrepreneur are people who are comfortable taking calculated risk. If you're not really ready to take a risk, you're not ready to be an entrepreneur. Understand that most of the times in your entrepreneurial journey, you're taking risk with your revenue, you're taking risk with your dream, you're taking risk with your purpose, you're taking risk with your time, and you're taking risk with your vision. And if you're uncomfortable taking any kind of risk, entrepreneurship is probably not for you. If you need to know what the check looks like on the 15th and the 30th every month and you can't fathom being outside of that space of certainty, stay on your job. If you're concerned about starting a business simply because I won't have insurance and you haven't been sick in 15 years, and this moment is holding you back from obtaining your purpose at its optimum level, you're clear to realize that you're probably not ready on this entrepreneurial checklist. I don't want you to take this lightly. It is not simply about being able to get up when you want to. It's not simply about putting yourself in a position where you can say, I work for myself. As an entrepreneur, and there are a few entrepreneurs that will testify, I work harder working on my own than I ever worked working on a 9-to-5, because you're taking a risk in making sure that your purpose is fulfilled. So number one on the checklist, are you comfortable taking risks? Number two, are you committed to struggle? Are you committed to struggle? Frederick Douglass says it best: if there is no struggle, there is no progress. And in this moment, many of us think that entrepreneurship is going to be a space where it's all honey and no bees. This is the moment where you start to realize that if it's good for you to succeed, it's only good when you've overcome the struggle that was designed for you. If it's biblical, I know I have some diehard spiritual individuals. In the 23rd Psalms, David speaks of, he leads me through the valley of the shadow of death. He's talking about going through a struggle where it looks dark. I'm not on the mountaintop. I am literally stuck in between two mountains. I've come from a high. I'm now in a low, and I'm going to make it through. He's very specific in his terminology. He says, I'm not going in the valley, which means I may go in and not come out. He says, I'm going through. I don't know how I'm going to make it, but somehow I'm going to make it back to my mountaintop encounter. And as an entrepreneur, you have to be okay on your checklist with struggle. You're going to be okay with putting yourself in a position where you're going to struggle through some relationships. You're going to struggle through some financial encounters. You're going to struggle sometimes with your own personal confidence. But being able to make it beyond the struggle gives you the tools to prepare for the teachable moments and the success that's on the way. It's impossible for you as an entrepreneur to want to taste success and you've never swallowed the bitterness of struggle. You have to ask yourself on this checklist, are you prepared for the struggle? So number one, on your checklist, if you can check it off, are you okay with risk taking? You're ready for the entrepreneur role. Number two, are you committed to struggle? You can check it off. Number three, do you value others first? Do you value others first? Let me give you a secret to entrepreneurship. You are often the last person to get paid. Why? Because when you work for somebody, all you think about is, did my check hit? When you are the person that people work for, your responsibility lays on your shoulders that people depend on you to eat. And if you don't realize that you have to have a heart for people to be an entrepreneur, this is probably not for you. If this is your mindset that I'm going to get all I can all I can get and sit on the can, you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. You're finding yourself in the space, in the place, and in the circumstance where you realize that my people matter. My teams matter. My product matters. My reputation matters. But what is not key is that I'm first. Let me help you digest this again. One of the greatest components of your entrepreneurial success will be when you can now put yourself on the back burner and put people in front. Making sure that your people know their value, making sure that your family understands their value, making sure that your product is valuable. And when your people, your family, and your product is maximized, you will always receive the benefit. You've got to realize that you are not the most important, valuable tool in this process, because if your business is only as far as you can take it, you have a business with a time limit on it. But if you can put yourself on the back burner and build a team around you, a product around you that allows your business to go beyond you, you're ready to be an entrepreneur. A few more left and we're out of here. Have you evaluated your faith? Have you evaluated your faith? Faith is this moment where you believe what you cannot see and you stand on what has not come into manifestation yet. You believe what you cannot see and you stand on what is not coming to manifestation yet. And sometimes in business, as an entrepreneur, you have to be comfortable speaking this thing into existence when it doesn't even look like you're going to win. I had to tell people over and over again how many team members we had. I had to be often the person that was the accountant, the receptionist, and the consultant. I had to speak about every component of the business in the now when it had not made fruition until the later. And some of you understand that you have to stand on your faith in business when you have more month than you have money. When you have people that you've sent contracts out to and nobody signed it, and you want to give up, you want to throw in the towel, you want to go back to your 9 to 5, do you have enough faith to be an entrepreneur? Faith forces you as an entrepreneur to jump out and figure out later if the parachute is going to open. Faith will put you in the position where you say, I'm going out for the loan. I'm going to get the articles of incorporation. I'm going to start the website, not knowing if anybody's going to bite. And there are a few people who are watching that can testify that when I stood on my faith as an entrepreneur, I went out and watched God meet me where I went. Sometimes you've got to step out first. God is not caught on 285. He's not stuck on I-20. He's not on 75-85 waiting for anything to come into fruition. He's waiting for you to show up, and he will meet you at your moment of faith. And if your faith is not strong enough to be an entrepreneur, remain where you are. Finally, the last number on your checklist: is your vision clear? Is your vision clear? The Bible says where there is no vision, people perish, they die. And you've got to be able to cast a vision that is so far down the road that it creates a short term, that is 6 months to a year, an intermediate, 1 year to 3 years, and a long term, 3 years to 5 years. Because if your vision can be obtained by you alone, it's not a vision, it's just a short term dream. And I want you to put yourself in a position where you're clear on your vision. We will own multiple franchises. I will purchase multiple properties. I will have employees all across the country. My product will be successful. I will change the destiny of my generation and my legacy for years to come. You've got to have a vision. And more importantly, you've got to write that vision down. We talked about the business plan in the last segment. Don't find yourself being defeated by your memory. If it's in your mind, keep a notepad near your bed, in your car. Use your smartphone notes, because your vision needs to be written down. Never wake up and meet the person you could have been, because your vision was not clear enough for you to write it down and turn your vision into reality. These things can come into fruition if you are designed to be an entrepreneur. On this checklist, run it down and check it off, because this is the season where billionaires are made, where millionaires are created. Crisis turns into opportunities for greatness. Crisis turns into an opportunity for greatness. And we here at New Birth believe that there are entrepreneurs out there, and all you needed was a checklist. All you needed was to validate that I am who God said I am. And I've come to you as your pastor of internet and innovation through the vision and the outcast of Dr. Jamal-Harrison Bryant to let you know you are what God designed you to be. Your purpose will be fulfilled. Your life plan is getting ready to come to fruition. Your business plan is going to benefit you. You are going to pay off your debts. You are going to change the history of your family. You are going to make the world a better place simply because God has called you to take risk. And now that you've checked off the list, you can't sit here any longer doing things the way you used to. This crisis, this quarantine makes you go in a different direction. Don't be afraid to do what you've been called to do. Don't be afraid to write the book. Don't be afraid to start the business. Why? Because you're undertaking great risk. And because you've undertaken them, God will bless you exactly where you are. It's amazing to me. We're out of our time. We're now at a point where your 15 minutes of inspiration has come directly to you, and I want you to make sure that you capitalize on this moment. It would be a faux pas of mine if I didn't give you an opportunity to be connected to the greatest church on the planet. We don't just do Sunday morning, we do Monday through Saturday. And we don't want you to just be a friend, we want you to be family. So if you go to newbirth.org and click join in the top corner, you can now become a family member. People are joining us not just in the sanctuary, but online in the cyber sanctuary, and we want you to be a member. Secondly, you can invest right now, because the most amazing worship moment you'll ever have is to invest in a great kingdom while investing in your vision, your risk, and your opportunity. And you see what we're doing, not just regionally, not just statewide, not just nationally, but we're taking God global. And if you would risk so sowing a seed, taking that investment, putting it into great ground. We're going to make sure that we pray over you, and we know that God is going to turn it around 20, 40, 60, 80, and some 100-fold. Keep sharing, keep tagging, keep doing your watch parties, and keep being a part of everything that we're doing here at New Birth. On behalf of Dr. Jamal-Harrison Bryant and our church family, we're thankful to be able to pour into you on a daily basis. I'm your pastor of Internet and Innovation, Vance Ross. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Have a virus-free and clean remainder of the week, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace.